Hey, what's up guys? Gonna do a little review on this knife. This is the Joker knife from The Dark Knight. And this is a gift to me, so I did not purchase it. So I can't give you a great idea as to where to get it, but I can tell you that after I did a very quick Google search for Joker automatic knife, that there's plenty of options out there to do so. So you can easily find it. I can tell you also that this knife was designed way before the Joker movie, or before the popularity of the Joker. It was just a great opportunity to market as such. And you can see the blade markings on here, Joker, why so serious? It's like the movie, and you can see some dirt and stuff and grime, because I did use this knife to see if the edge would retain any kind of sharpness, which it didn't, which I kind of expected with these cheap knives. As far as price, expect to pay anywhere from $20 to about $50 as a high price. I would say on average maybe 20 to 30. But this isn't the first knife of this kind. What this is actually it's a copy of a very nice high-end automatic knife. But there's slight alternations to it. Okay, basically this is a copy of a knife made by Dalton, D-A-L-T-O-N. And anyone who's been in the knife scene for a long time, many years, have probably been exposed to Dalton knives. They make fantastic automatics. They're up there with like ProTech, Microtech. You know, in that sense, I remember probably in the late 90s they were extremely popular. All three companies, ProTech, Dalton, and Microtech, all made fantastic automatic knives. All three companies made side opening automatics as well as out the fronts, or OTFs. Now this design was originally an OTF knife. The Dalton Cupid was this exact model. It looked just like this. It had no writing, of course. And just like Microtech or even ProTech, there was tons of different flavors of the knife. And when I refer to flavors, I'm talking about different styles. Basically the same knife, but you had like a satin blade as an option. That's what I'm talking about really, it's just different options. Satin blade, you could have double-edged, you know, you can have a combo double edge where there's a portion of serrations on both sides and plain edge, you know, a black coating. I'm not sure if they offered it in two-tone. That's something Microtech as a company usually offers the most variety as far as different types of the same model. But anyway, yes, it looks identical to a Dalton Cupid. Now the original version was an OTF, an out-the-front automatic. But they copied that exact design here and integrated it into a side folding assisted knife. So you have a little flipper on the back here as you initiate it out, right about here. The tension is released and it swings open. Of course, if you don't put your hand in the way, it pops her open. As far as an assisted opener, it's pretty fast. It's not the fastest I've ever seen, but it's not slow by any means. I've had some assisted openers that have been pretty slow. But basically the genuine article, the OTF, would have a button here, and for the pivot screw they reversed it so that the presentation side is up, which I always like anyway. I think it's a nice cleaner look, but that would be your button. So it kind of mimics the idea of that being a button, and you push the button and it would shoot out straight through the handle. Okay, now this protrusion here, which acts as your flipper, it conveniently acts as a flipper. It sticks out. By the way, it's easy to get to. You know, it's easy to flick open. Pretty much any position you're in if you wanted to do that. But it's convenient. I say it's convenient because the actual knife, the original, would look just like this. However, it didn't fold into the handle. It was an OTF, so the blade, this little protrusion would be over here. So basically, once the knife was open, if you wanted to close it, you'd push the button in, okay, and then you'd pull back on this, and it would slide. You'd be pulling the blade into the handle, and when it got to the bottom here, it would click. Now you notice there's a channel cut out in the blade. Okay, this style still mimics that exact knife because that's how it functions. Is that your pivot and your button went through the handle. Okay, so you needed to have a channel cut out so this can slide around it. And when you got to the end, this would cup around your button. All right, so basically when it was pushed all the way in, your springs would be depressed, okay, kind of like in a magazine, or gun magazine, where your spring is now squished down, there's a lot of pressure built up, right? When you push the button, you're releasing the piece of metal out of the way, and all the pressure would shoot that blade out, and then, of course, in a locked position. All right, so there'd be another round cutout like this on the bottom. And that's basically how it worked. You'd retract it. It was a single action OTF. Meaning the button only performed a single action, whereas you have dual action OTFs where the button would shoot it out and then you push the button again, it would shoot it in, you know, or instead of a button, a lot of times dual actions will have a almost a button that you slide, you know, not a button you push, but something that you slide. The terminology is escaping me. But yeah, your button a lot of times would be on the side for OTFs, in a lot of cases like Microtechs. But yeah, that's basically how it worked. Single action, hold the button in to, you know, move it out of the way, and then you pull this back and then click back here and it'd be shut. And you wanted to shoot it out, push the button and shoot out. Now in the movie, I believe is a genuine Dalton, or perhaps a movie prop knife, or perhaps even a copy, a Chinese copy, but it was an OTF from my memory. Okay, I can't confirm that 100%, but from my memory, it did open out the front as opposed to out the side like on this one. What's kind of cool about this is that, first of all, the real Dalton Cupid, a couple $100, you know, out of most people's price ranges. I don't believe they're being made anymore. They're out of production. One of the best sites you can go to for high-end automatics would be pvk.com. I've been using that site for, Jesus, about 18 years now, since I got into to knives. Actually, I shouldn't say 18 years. It's been more like 14 or 15 years since I ordered my first one. But yes, they have a nice array of high-end automatic knives. Unfortunately, I did not find the actual Cupid models. They also made smaller ones, little California legal ones. They were much smaller with a 2-inch blade. But yeah, that was the original design. What the benefit of this is, obviously it's cheaper. Okay, it is cheaper than the real one. Also, you don't have to worry with the laws of having an automatic knife, because this is an assisted knife and side opening, as opposed to the original, which was an OTF. So you're not limited as much as far as legally carrying it, or in some cases even owning it. So that's pretty cool too. But the point I was trying to make originally is that these markings and stuff, they were created afterwards. This copy pretty much came out within a couple years of the real ones being, you know, put out there. So I've seen these copies way before that movie ever came out. All right, so what they did was, a lot of these companies said, oh my God, you know, they used that knife in the movie, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put Joker on here and a little why he's so serious thing, and all of a sudden it's gonna be the Joker knife and everyone's gonna want one. And that's kind of how it works. So it's very convenient for them. As far as overall size and weight, it's very similar to the real Dalton Cupid. I never owned one, but I have handled them many times at gun shows back in the 90s. This one is slightly lighter than the original. They both do have aluminum hand. This one's aluminum, although some of these models, the cheaper ones, have a plastic handle over the stainless liners. By the way, this is a liner lock. Okay, there's a little bit of play up and down, very, very minimal, really not much. And of course, a little play side to side, as a lot of the cheap assisted knives usually have. You can adjust the side to side, but of course it's not going to come out as fast. That's preference. Liner lock is thin and dinky, I will say. You don't exert a lot of pressure on the back of a knife most of the time, but if you wanted to try to get this to fail, it would fail. Overall, it's just a cheap knife. Construction's not as horrible as it could be. Coming close, you could see the hardware here once it focuses. We do have Torx. Okay, 2 body screws on top, 2 body screws on the bottom. There's a lanyard hole on here. All right, something to note here is there's a lanyard hole, but guess what? You can't use it. Why? Because the Chinese never think of stuff like this. The blade covers the lanyard hole in its path, so you can never use that with a real lanyard unless you're keeping your knife closed permanently. That's a little too safe if you ask me. Certainly won't open in your pocket, it won't open at all. And if you put a lanyard on with the blade open, obviously it won't shut all the way, or it'll just cut through the tip of your lanyard. Or the tip of the knife will cut through your lanyard if it's even sharp enough. But yeah, obviously a huge design flaw there. Not a huge deal, as most people who have these knives probably won't want to put a lanyard on it anyway. They serve their purpose. They're a fun little thing. If you're a huge fan of the Batman series, or specifically the Joker, or whatever, it's a fun little novelty knife to have for 20 or 30 bucks. It's cool to add to a collection. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's just it's a poor knife in general. It came really sharp. Like I said, this is a gift, and I don't even know if it was brand new when I got it, but it was very sharp and performed very well for about a day, and then just lost its edge dramatically. Really, really lost its edge. Just because probably of a poor heat treat. There is a marking in the back, like a lot of nameless knives. It says 440 stainless China, right there. 440 what? I don't know. You could see something as small as this, just that little nick that's taken out around the pivot. You know, it's not a big deal. If you had if you forked over $300 or $400 for a real Dalton Cupid back in the day, that would be unacceptable. But as a Chinese knife, it's totally cool. Everyone kind of gets it. It's not perfect. It's cheap. Yeah, it's a cool little alternative if you can't afford the real one and you want that look and that feel. And of course, you are a fan of the Joker series. Oh, you can see there, I pulled back and the liner wasn't only engaged. So I'm trying not to cut myself, but you can see that you can override that liner with enough pressure. Let me do this without cutting myself. There we go. There's the liner. But because it's thin and because of the angle on the top of the liner and the angle on the bottom of the tang. So if you were doing cold steel proof videos and you were smacking this against some pine boards, that would certainly fail. So yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You can't expect a lot out of these Chinese knockoffs. And that's what it is. It's a Chinese knockoff that they happen to put the Joker stuff on. Honestly though, it's still pretty cool. It's still fun to play with. It's still a cool looking knife. But if you're ever wondering about the channel and why it has that and oh my god, it makes the blade weaker and blah blah blah, they are mimicking the exact design of the original, just it's functioning differently. Now I have seen, I don't know if I mentioned, I have seen versions of this which are OTFs as well. Definitely cooler, if you ask me. Definitely more closer to the movie. I haven't seen an OTF version with the Joker markings on it though. So you'll have to shop around. I'm sure there's plenty of websites who sell both and all different variations on it. It's a cool knife. It's not a knife to use. That's the basic gist here, is that if you want to get it to show off to your friends because it's cool, or you want to display it or play with it, that's fine. I do not recommend buying this knife to actually use to cut things. It's somewhat unsafe, somewhat unfunctional, if you like that, you know, lanyard. Not the best option for a knife to actually use. It will open your mail, like pretty much anything that's semi-sharp. You can rip through a box, but you don't want to rip through a box. You want to cut through it. And that's the safest way to use your tools, is to keep them nice and sharp, and this one just won't stay sharp very long. So, you guys get the point. Very cool to look at and show off, not cool to use. The knife stinks for a user, but it's a cool little collectible. So, that's let me talk about the pocket clip a little bit. There's a pocket clip, obviously. There it is. It looks like just a regular run-of-the-mill, cheap, thin pocket clip. But you know, the tension is pretty good on this one. It's actually pretty tight. And it did carry fine. I did carry this for 3 days. I didn't want to give it that much time, but I was curious to see if it would fall out, or when I was using it, how it'd function for me. And I'd say I'm surprised that it is tighter. Most of these Chinese clips, they just stink. I mean, you can bend them back. There's no retention whatsoever. Very floppy. This one happens to be a good one. But I don't remember there being a pocket clip on the real Dalton. So there you go. Still a cool knife. It's a fun knife. Just don't buy it to use it. That's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. And we'll see you soon. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.